everybody, welcome. This is Elaine, your fabulous living coach. Welcome to my 6-week series of Getting Personal with Elaine. So today we're going to be talking about how I like to live my fabulous life. Everybody has their own definition on what they believe is fabulous living. You're entitled to create your life any way you want. So how I like to live my life is by the actual experience of living my life, creating authentic living experiences, and one of the best ways of doing that for me is to live on a permanent vacation. Yes, I don't want to wait until I am retired. I don't want to wait until I'm older to live my fabulous life the way I want to. I want to do it now. I want to do it here in this very present moment because it's the only moment that we have. I've created a lot of experiences in my life unconsciously and then consciously with the law of attraction, and which is amazing because I can create my life any way I want. I'm fully aware of it, so I can keep on doing more of what it is that I like and having that deliberate intention. So when I was little, the first plane ride I had was when my mother was 5 months pregnant, and that was to Chicago. I was born in Toronto, Canada. I moved to Melbourne, Australia with my mother and sister when I was 3 until I was 9 years old. When I was little, I used to stare at maps and the globe, and I thought it was so fascinating that you could go anywhere that you wanted and you had the whole world to travel and explore. We moved to Canada when I was 9 years old, and I had done traveling with my mother and my sister, which of course I loved, and I knew that I wanted to travel. When I was 12 years old, we went to Greece, and that was my first time since I was a baby, and I absolutely fell in love. When we came back, I was crying, and I told my mother I want to go to Greece after high school. I didn't know how. I just wrote it out, and I calculated how many days it was from grade 7 to grade 12, and I told her that I was going to move there. A few weeks later, I completely forgot about it, and I just left it, and that actually manifested into reality, and I went to Greece for 3 years after high school, and it wasn't until afterwards that I clicked in that I actually created that. Another experience is with going to Mexico. I went to Mexico when I was 16 years old for a cultural exchange program to learn Spanish. When I was little, I was so interested in learning Spanish. I used to go to sleep listening to Gloria Estefan, listening to the Gypsy Kings. When I was in grade 7, I had a crush on a boy from Nicaragua. We had sponsored a child with World Vision from Colombia, and my mother had books on Spanish for gringos, and I used to read it. Hola, ¿cómo estás? So in high school, once they offered Spanish, I jumped at that opportunity. I knew that I wanted to learn it. I used to go home after school and study Spanish and do my homework. It was my highest mark in class. So when on the announcements they had offering exchange programs, I jumped at it and I went to Mexico for 3 months, and that was an amazing experience. I was 16 years old. Girl, I didn't speak Spanish. It was just my first year going to high school in Mexico, meeting this beautiful family, engaged in the Mexican culture, and it really opened my eyes. That was the first authentic experience that I had that really opened me, and it made me realize that there's so much of the world that I want to explore, and this is how I like to live my life. After high school, I thought maybe I want to work half the year, save some money, either learn some more Spanish, Italian, or another language, and then the year afterwards I'll study. And I'll probably study something in the travel and tourism industry, which I did, hotel management. So my mother found a school in Greece that was for hotel management in Athens, and she said, do you want to go to this school because it'll be a great experience. You can travel, you can improve your Greek, since our background is Greek, and you can explore and do what it is that you want. And I thought, sure, that sounds like a great idea. Little did I know that how big 3 years was. I was just used to 3 months in Mexico. So I went to Greece, 17 years old, 3 years, studied half the year in Athens. First year I worked on the coast in Helsinki. Second year I came back to Toronto. And then the third year I worked on the island of Rhodes. When I came back to Toronto, I was working at Intercontinental as a hostess for maybe 8-9 months, and I knew that I wasn't finished exploring. I wasn't finished living my life the way I wanted to. So I went to the Cayman Islands. I was a beach girl at the Westin Hotel, and I served pina coladas up and down the beach, barefoot, in a bathing suit. And when I had applied for that position, it was a winter day, and I thought, oh, what do I have to lose? So when they got back to me, I thought, when will I be able to ever have that experience in my life? When will I be able to live in the Caribbean, 21 years old, serving pina coladas? Never, never again. This is my life. I have to do it now. So I went to the Cayman Islands for 10 months. great experience, authentic experience. I had like the Jamaican influence as well, and I learned a lot about that culture and other Caribbean cultures as well. And then when I came back, I started realizing, into Toronto, I started realizing that a lot of people, not everybody wants to live this lifestyle, but I started realizing that a lot of people have limitations and they start living in a routine, in a cycle, and there was no way, after seeing all of these things, that I was going to tolerate having 2 weeks vacation. That's just insane. I thought, I want to live my life on a permanent vacation. It's the way I've been living my life, and I'm so passionate about living my life that way. So what happened? I had a boss, and he told me that, Elaine, you're not going to find a job that you love, because I had transferred from like hospitality. I did travel and tourism at a travel agency, and I loved hospitality. I loved the people. I loved customer service. I liked the fact that I could contribute to their travel experiences, and they wrote comment cards to me, and I could be a part of the experiences that they had through travel. So I did like that aspect. However, I wasn't sure, I had this feeling that it wasn't for me. I like being the guest, I like traveling, but I don't know about working in hospitality. So I tried working at a bank, and that obviously didn't go too well with my personality because I'm so outgoing, not to say anything against you bank people. But I realized that people were living in these limitations, and that I want to live my life the way I want, and I want to be happy at my job. And my boss said, Elaine, a job's a job. You're not going to be happy at anything. Not everybody's happy at their job. And I thought, no, that's wrong. That is completely wrong. Aristotle says pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work. And I thought, you have to love your job. You have to be passionate about your job. Your job is your job. You spend so much time working at your job. Why wouldn't you do something that you love? It doesn't make any sense to me. So I started becoming conscious of these thoughts and these limitations, and how everybody was on this routine autopilot, waking up, going to work, coming home, waking up, going to work, coming home, and I realized that this is not what I wanted. And then I was introduced to The Secret, and that just blew me away. It opened my eyes, and it made me become aware of things that I already knew, but it made me become conscious. So I know that these concepts have always existed. It's not a big secret. However, it is good to open the eyes of people. And I started then consciously becoming aware of my thoughts and thinking, what is it? How do I want to live my life? How do I want to manifest my life and create these experiences into my life? I created a vision board. Things came out of it, from anywhere from meeting this wonderful man who flew to New York to see me, that was on my vision board, to living in the Canadian Rockies, to going to Spain as an au pair this summer, and it's just amazing. You can live your life any way you want. You don't have to live according to society. You just need to live your life the way you want to, and that's what makes you fabulous, and that's what makes you alive and have that purposeful life.